My gosh. All right. Well, blasting off with some UFO reports. UFO sighting in Ontario. This occurred November 6th of 2010, so it's a UFO blast from the past. The witness states in brief, I saw two spheres flying down hydro lines. I was hunting along a tower line in November of 2010 when I saw two spheres coming down the top outside line. They were flying in tandem. The closer one was about 30 feet from the line, the other was 50 yards out and 20 yards back. I had three friends on the same side as the spheres, walking towards them about 150 yards away. My thought was, I didn't know it was there. They were about the size of a basketball. The sun gleamed off them just as my friends broke the tree line into the hydro. At this point, the spheres are directly in front of me. They stopped and shot back and up to a 30-degree angle. In a split second, they were gone. I do not edit these things. I edit as I go along. If I fumble, OMG, that was one giant sentence. No period to be seen. So have pity and mercy. Okay, this next UFO sighting occurred in Flores, Peton. Don't know where that is. This occurred October 9th, 2017. A green disc, see picture they say, flying, standing, flying above ground. In more detail, the witness states I was in the Hotel El Piton in Flores, sitting at the balcony and watching birds. Just before coming heavy rain and thunderstorm, my wife first noticed the object coming across the lake, in front of the hotel, around 500 meters over ground. It was no plane, no helicopter, no balloon comparable. It was a green disc situated in the air with a 45-degree angle, flying abruptly forward, standing, and then flying again. I took my camera, mounted a lens with 300 millimeters focal length, and began to shoot pictures. The object crossed the lake and vanished abruptly in the north. Because I had seen and taken pictures of several UFOs in my life, oh, lucky dog, I was not extremely surprised, but happy to see one again. A green UFO? That's different. All right, the next UFO sighting, Black Triangle sighting in Ephrata, Washington. This occurred December 31st, 2017. In brief, they state triangle-shaped, moved quickly, verified by another person. You gotta get it verified. Make sure your eyes aren't going goofy, huh? Okay, anyways. The witness says in more detail, I went out to have a cigarette at approximately 2 a.m. Always these cigarette smokers spotting this stuff. I witnessed a single light in the sky miles away that looked like a star. It then began moving in a figure 8 and 90-degree turns. I woke my father to verify what I was seeing. I tried to film it, but my camera on my phone would not pick it up. I watched for 20 minutes, then went inside. An hour later I came out, and same thing, still there. My last cigarette was at approximately 4:30 a.m. It flew over my house, and two more lights appeared, making it triangle-shaped. I lost track of it after about 2 minutes. Ooh, gotta verify with those eyes. All right, the next UFO sighting happened in Chandler, Arizona. In brief, the witness states, sighted a disc-shaped object with large red lights in the center and two white lights to either side moving east towards me while walking my dog. I left my house to walk my dog on December 30th, 2017 at 8:25 p.m. walking west. I usually look to the skies for meteor showers, shooting stars. I saw at about 45-degree angle on the horizon between myself and South Mountain to the west an unusually bright and large red light with two smaller white lights to either side forming a disc shape. I stopped and observed it, moving to the east towards me. I decided to call my daughter to see if she could see from her location east of me a few miles. She could not. I then observed the object stop and hover in place, then start moving south. I attempted to take video but was unable to open video mode. Only a time-lapse photo was taken. We'll need to review. My dog was getting agitated and whining. Then the disc went from being large and visible to accelerating to the southwest at such a rate of speed, it went to a pinpoint and gone. I'm retired Air Force. Oh, so this is your department. And that was not an aircraft from this earth. Well, all right. I have never seen anything like it in my life before. Truly amazing. My dog seems to be a bit lethargic after getting home, and I have a very bad headache. Not sure what to make of that as of yet. For those of us that know, that sounds very much like those UFOs came in for a closer peek-a-doo at you. That's very interesting symptoms. All right, next UFO sighting. This occurred in Boise, Idaho, December 30th, 2017. In brief, the witness states observed two stationary red globes in sky above Boise, in general direction of the airport. In more detail, they state, I came outside of my home because I had heard several loud explosions in the neighborhood. These might have been New Year's early fireworks, but they sounded like gunfire to me. Ooh, Boise's getting rough. As I was looking around, I noticed two red globes in the sky in the general direction of the airport. One of them appeared farther away than the other. Neither was moving, but remained stationary. I thought they might have been helicopters, but I could see no movement at all, and they were glowing red all over. More like a subdued fireball. Ooh. I went to get a better view, so I ran into the house to get a pair of binoculars. Unfortunately, by the time I got the binoculars unpacked and focused, the objects had disappeared. So, this whole sighting only lasted a minute or two. I was disappointed that I couldn't see them with my binoculars, but the truth is that I wouldn't have been able to hold binoculars steady enough to see more detail anyway. You know, I am honestly a big believer, personally, this is me talking, that, you know, sometimes our eyes hit it just right, and you go to move or look away, and you can't focus on it any longer. It was meant for that moment. Reaching, moving, running doesn't always work to go get something to see it clearer. All right, the next UFO sighting. Oh, here we go. This occurred in Lupton, Michigan. This occurred on April 30th, 2017. And the witness states in brief, this photo was taken by me in May of 2017 in Lupton, Michigan, in my backyard. My daughter had heard something in the tall trees. I walked over to see what it was. I saw two brief flashes of light, as if something metallic. It was dusk, and the sun was B. They just left it at B. I don't know what that means. Okay, in more detail. Oh, it's just they cut themselves off. We'll continue that sentence. It was dusk, and the sun was below the horizon at this point. I took out my phone and began taking pictures. I noticed an image above the fire and only adjusted the light exposure on the photo to bring out the image. Nothing else has been altered. The small dot of light to the right of the image is a light on the house, several hundred feet away on a neighboring property. We have frequent sightings of UFOs in the sky here. We see them about a third as often as we see aircraft here. Ooh, that's fascinating to know. The next UFO sighting. This occurred in Hanover, Massachusetts. This was on December 30th, 2017. In brief, they call it a floating black diamond. Two sightings, half hour apart. Ooh, cool. In more detail, over Washington Street, Hanover, Massachusetts. We first seen it when we were driving in car south near Shaw's Market at 4:15-ish. My daughter Sydney pointed it out, saying, "It looks like someone lost a bunch of balloons." Then after a half hour later, 4:45, we were coming back north near East Street, and she said it was still there. I pulled into the auto mall across from Western's Autos. We got out, and we watched it for about 10 minutes. It seemed to be a diamond shape, black, and stayed in the same place 500 to 1,000 feet above us for 5 minutes, and then slowly rose upward to the east till I lost track of it. It was snowing lightly, and it wasn't making any sound, so I don't think it was a drone. It did appear to be rotating slowly, and we both thought we saw a thin line below it like a string. But if it was balloons, it would have drifted away faster, and it certainly wouldn't have been in the same area for a half hour. Ooh. All right. The next UFO sighting, is an alien encounter. Liverpool, England. This occurred December 28, 2017, and they put possible abduction. I've woken up a couple of days ago with a very strange triangular bruise on my inside thigh. Upon studying this bruise, you can see part of the point of a triangle, and inside a perfect circle. I remember nothing about what happened since this has appeared. I'm constantly lethargic and want to sleep. That's all they put. Okay. This next one is a UFO sighting in a name I'm going to really enjoy trying to pronounce. This occurred in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in December 20th, 2017. In brief, they state, I noticed two bright lights moving together north about halfway up the sky from the horizon. Before they blinked together and met up with a third blinking light, then moved northeast and disappeared over the top of the houses. In more detail, they state 6:09 a.m. I pull out my phone to change my music while I wait for my carpool in my front yard. I noticed two bright blue-white lights that I assumed had to be a pair of satellites when they began to move together, relative to the other stars and clouds very noticeably. The pair of lights blink in unison and drift to the north, east from the east, and from right overhead to about 45 degrees from the horizon, just above the treetops and rooftops. Shortly after, a third light comes from the north, from a low to a higher angle, and meets with the other two lights, and forms a triangle as they pass beyond view over the rooftops. I was fascinated at the time, but now I've turned to fear, as over the last 10 days I've had more unrecorded encounters with blue blinking lights, most noticeably tonight at work and home. I have been seeing a blinking light in the sky, then nothing. I'd shown my iPhone's flash in the same pattern and got a response. After that, I locked my doors and have been writing this report since. Thank you for your time. Oh, I am sure that's terrifying. Okay. The next UFO sighting. This happened in Hollins, Virginia. This is a UFO blast from the past. This happened on August 20th, 2006. At least 100 that first were thought to be stars until they started moving with half of the sky glowing clouds covering moon with orange color enough to light the sky. I thought it was the sun. Okay, in more detail, it was a big one. Around 3 a.m., I received a phone call from my two youngest daughters. Both were at their home. I was with my oldest daughter at my home, approximately 1 mile away. My daughter told me to go outside, that something strange was going on with the sky. Before I could reach the door, she called back hysterical, telling me the earth was spinning out of control. I laughed. I asked, had she been drinking? So my daughter and I went. The earth felt as if I had fallen off its axis and was out of control, spinning so fast I thought I was going to fall. Okay, that's chopped up. I think I get it. Half of the sky looked as if it were daytime. The moon had a huge cloud in front of it, illuminating orange-yellow so bright it was lighting up the sky. When we looked to the other side, it was dark. and there were thousands of stars. All of a sudden, the stars started to fly across the sky and line up. About this time, I dropped to my knees and began to pray. My daughter thought it was the end times and raced home after about 100 stars had moved across the sky. They formed a huge craft, and I mean huge. And as quick as it was there, it was gone. The moon was back to normal. A note that my neighbor had come out and was walking to his car. I called out 2 times for him to look up. It was as if he didn't hear me. I made the comment to my daughters that if what we saw, we know we saw, the military will release a statement, and sure enough, the next morning paper said something stupid. That sounds like the military. I can't recall now, but it was laughable. It was laughable just to hear that. I have researched for years trying to find someone with what I saw. Can't even come close, but myself and 3 daughters saw this. I have painted it on my bedroom wall, so when people are told it was so hard to explain and easier to show, everyone I have told seems to believe me. I thought they would think I was nuts, and there have been times I have had to get my daughters to confirm it. Wow, that almost sounds like some kind of distortion field. Something took place and people's memories were wiped or they were told not to look up. Isn't that wild? What an interesting story. I must just say it. Personally, I had a dream that seemed so real that was very much like that. And, wow. But to have so many people confirm, gosh, I would love to talk to that person. Hollins, Virginia. Sounds like Hollis. All right, the next UFO sighting. It occurred in, another big name, Santa Teresina de Etupia, Parana. Okay. December 30th, 2017. Saw a bright white light but couldn't find source. In more detail, the witness states, I was walking at sunset near my parents' property. We live in a farm. It had rained heavily during the day, and there were many enormous clouds in the sky above. In the southwest direction, there was a very small and fuzzy grayish cloud, very far from any other clouds and much smaller than the rest. I looked at it initially because I thought it looked funny. After a few seconds, it flashed a white light. I kept looking at it, trying to find the source, waiting for it to flash again. I couldn't see any airplanes or anything like that around, just the cloud. And it was moving southward very slowly. Someone told me, and I have seen it myself a couple of times, that there is a small airplane that takes pictures of the ground. Apparently government owned, but I couldn't see it this time. Sometimes airplanes fly nearby as well, but I couldn't see or hear anything either. So I immediately thought it was a UFO for some reason. The way it was slowly moving made me think that it was something unknown, even though it might as well just be a regular cloud moving because of the wind. And then the light, which I honestly can't understand and would like to. I felt sure that it was a UFO, even though I've never believed those could be seen from Earth. Huh? Okay. And also a bit curious and afraid, I kept looking at it for a while, but could see nothing more. Only that it was still moving very slowly southward, and that it appeared to have smaller clouds under it, also soaring and moving. As it was getting darker, I went inside, but for some reason the incident was still on my mind. So I decided to look the internet about it. Huh? Okay. Interesting. The next UFO sighting, this occurred in Salem, Missouri. This happened on December 9th, 2017. 12 to 15 red lights in the sky in the northwest. At 8:20 p.m., we received a text to go outside and look at the northwest. Strange lights in the sky. The wife and I went outside. Sure enough, there were 12 to 15 red lights in the sky, not too far above the trees. All lights were at an equal distance from one another. All were hovering at first, then they slowly began moving forward at the same time in a south-southwest direction. Very slow. We could hear no engine noise as we were too far away, probably 5 to 7 miles. The witness that reported it to me said she heard a loud humming coming from them, or it. We were unable to tell if it was one object like the Phoenix lights or multiple objects. Whatever it was not airplanes. The lights were a solid color with no flashing or pulsating of different colors. They did seem to move in unison. That's it. The next UFO sighting, this happened in Montrose, Colorado, July 31st, 2015. Saw tiny spot, then grew to aspirin size. Aspirin size? For a few seconds, then got small and resumed path. In more detail, the witness states, sitting on deck watching the sky. Thought we were watching a satellite, but it stopped and grew in size. Intensity. A satellite. Traveling west across the southern sky. Small pinpoint of light moving about like a satellite. Would, but it stopped and then grew, either in size or intensity or both. Grew to the size of a small aspirin. Stayed that way for about 10 seconds. It then shrunk back to the pinpoint of light and resumed its course. Felt really strange about it. A little freaked out. It eventually traveled beyond what we could see. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Okay, well, in kicking off this lovely new year right, I thought this week we would continue on with inspirational stories of miracles, angels, of the paranormal sort. I hope they're still in line with that because sometimes some of these stories are not so inspirational. But I'm just reading them randomly. All right, this one is called The Squirrel That Saved My Life. I know I have angels by my side. I've been so close to death a few times. For instance, I was driving down the road, approaching a major intersection. The light was red, and I hadn't reached the stoplight yet. Before I got there, it turned green. I said to myself, cool, I don't have to stop. I can keep going. That's when a squirrel ran out in front of me, and I slammed on my brakes. No one was in front or behind me, but I was ready to go through the intersection at the same time as a speeding car running a red in the opposite direction. If that little squirrel didn't run out in front of me, I would have been killed. The guy who ran the light was going about 60. Maybe an angel threw a nut across the street for the squirrel. Or gave him a poke in the rear. Oh, that's hilarious. Or maybe the squirrel was the angel. Oh, by the way, I didn't hit the squirrel. He ran on his little hero way. That was cute. All right, here we go. This one is called Angels Are Real. I have been living a reckless life for quite some time. I have put myself in situations that most people would not have survived. As my life became more reckless and dangerous, my family told me, something has to be watching you or protecting you. I had started to lose my faith until one night my mother came to my bedroom and told me, please change. Death is following you. I have never seen someone go through so much and live. Please change. After not praying for years, I laid in my bed and prayed, Lord, please send me a sign. Anything. I need help, please, because my luck is running out. For my sake and my family's sake, help me, please. So, no sign came. That is, until I started to doze off and awoke in a state that I cannot explain. I could not move. I opened my eyes, and above my bed was a light. The brightest, most beautiful light I have ever seen. It was pulsating and glowing white. So bright it lit my room up. Then it was gone. I know it was an angel sent from God. Wow, that was pretty cool. This next one is called Signs I Cannot Explain. I'm not sure if it's my grandmother, but I see a woman. She follows me as though she is watching me, protecting me. She's my light. Every now and again, I go through moments in my days feeling like I've already done this. And now there's a sign. Pops in and out of my head at random times. I just can't leave it alone. I find myself drawing to it so much because I need to see it on paper. Guess a shield of light in the dark. Okay. Not sure about that one. Next one, Angel in the Mall. During a very rough time last week, my daughter and I went to the mall. At the bottom of the escalator, a quote lady approached us and started a conversation. She asked me a lot about where I was from, etc. Then she told me that this rough time would pass. The girls at school were jealous of my daughter, and she just needs to hold her head up high and not respond. Wow! How did she know there was a showdown at her school the day before? She also said that my daughter will have her pick of colleges to choose from. She's a straight A student since kindergarten. She also looked deep in my eyes and told me that she knew I had been to hell and back, but this will all make me stronger. Before we left, she said that she sees 6 angels around my daughter and 6 around me. We weren't alone. Oh, she also reminded me to keep surrounding myself and my daughter with protection, that it works. I surround myself and daughter with the white light every day. How did she know? Very cool. This next one is called My Mom's Angels. My mom is 89 years old and lives alone. She says that angels are constantly visiting her and bothering her, waking her up when she sleeps too much. They scare her and don't make her feel comfortable. She can't understand what they want. Are you sure those are angels? What is that? All right. This next one is called What I Believe Must Be an Angel. I was the manager of a radio broadcast station. I worked the morning show in which I had to wake every morning at 3 a.m. Ooh, hush your mouth. That's terrible. In order to get all my prep together by 5 a.m., which is airtime. The night before, I abruptly woke up at 11 p.m. and was sound asleep by 9:30, yet had to call the radio station urgently. I was initially disoriented, yet driven and barking orders to my equally sound asleep husband, who responded beautifully to my orders. Huh? I asked my husband to get on the cell phone and get ready to call 911. When I called the station, the talent on air informed me that there was a stranger in the studio with a gun. Oh. I signaled my husband to call 911 while I asked to speak to the stranger, who was highly agitated. I was able to talk to the man, who threatened my friend, my staff member, and engaged him until the sheriff's office arrived and my staff member was saved. There is no other explanation other than an angel informed me of danger and guided me, though, on how to handle it. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, this next one is called My Angel. I have an angel that was sent by God to be my eternal companion. Before this encounter, I was having some very vivid nightmares. The nightmares were so violent and disturbing that I had insomnia, but falling asleep during daytime only made the problem worse. Finally, I prayed to God for help. Within a week, I was taken into heaven and introduced to a special angel. It took a while for me to trust him, but for 1.5 years now, he has been by my side. First, he appeared in many vivid dreams to drive out any threats that appeared there. Oh, I like that. Then he made himself known at other places in my life. Often when I lay down at night, I feel his arms wrap around me and I fall asleep knowing I am protected. At times when I begin to feel filled with doubt, he gently reminds me to seek God. This angel's love and devotion for God has really inspired my own relationship with our Creator. I have kept a journal of all of the significant encounters over the last 1.5 years. I thank God for this wonderful friend. Oh, really nice. Inspiring stuff, right? Well, I want to thank you all for listening to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis. And be sure to check out UFOHeadlineNews.com every single day. And also hear my radio talk show called The Outlander. That's on Fridays where I talk about anything and everything out of the ordinary. So from 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to 9:30 p.m. And, I invite people to also send me their experiences, and I may address your emails and your UFO encounters I could address here on this show. So just visit my main website, which is HeidiHollis.com, and you can write me through there. And also catch